This election cycle. Well, we're getting close, guys. We're down to the nitty gritty. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. After I voted, my tolerance for the coverage of this election has completely shifted to zero. Um, I am so sick of this. I just want, I hate to use a term that somebody else was using, but just rip the band-aid off and just get this over with. I hate the fact that we're at this really weird time where it's just like, we're so close. We're so close. I think we're 10 days out. But the election coverage has been definitely one-sided, and it's going right back to where it was with Biden, where despite what, I don't care what you think about Biden, the objective truth is that the media was totally giving unfair coverage to him. They were giving him way less actual like good coverage of the things that he was doing, and also like interviews or any of that. Most of it was just about Trump and listening to what Trump had to say about Biden. And we're kind of going right back to that, where despite the fact that he's canceled a bunch of these interviews, these really, really high profile interviews, the media is still giving him this lopsided coverage where they're also being way too charitable to him. Because we just had the story come out where his own generals are calling him a fascist. It's not the left. It's not, Piers Morgan can now shut up about the whole, the left are calling they're just calling us Nazis. They're calling Trump a Nazi and they're calling him Hitler. How dare they call him Hitler? Well, I mean, again, if the jackboot fits, and also it's like, dude, every time you go on air, it's kind of like, man, you got more orange around your mouth. Like, just, it's ridiculous, and this is, I have to be completely honest, I think that Piers Morgan is really good at his job. I think he would be so much better if he wasn't so sycophantic to Trump. I think that if he wasn't his friend, he would actually do some pretty fair coverage. But with that being said, Charlamagne the God went on CNN and he called out their bias, and he called out the media's bias for how they've been covering Trump and the way that they kids glove him compared to what they just blatantly they're searching for the worst stories that they can on Kamala Harris. So let's take a look at that.
That she thinks that she believes Donald Trump is a fascist got a lot of headlines because it was the first time she said it. She's been going on for days saying Mark Milley said he's a fascist. This person said this. You raised the question of authenticity in your interview with her, and that was an authentic moment where she says, "Yeah, I do think he's a fascist," and I think that's why it had a reaction. Donald Trump, he, for whatever you think about him, if you like him, if you hate him, he is certainly who he is. He's showing us who he is every single day.
Yeah, which is a fascist. And it's crazy because you still don't have news networks having that conversation. Like when somebody says, when somebody questions Kamala Harris's blackness or is he a DEI hire, y'all will have roundtable discussions about that, asking that question. How come you're not having roundtable discussions asking, is Donald Trump a fascist?
Wait a minute. Why? I just realized something. Why CNN? And I'm glad that it's during this coverage, because now, are you guys purposefully like doing the thing where you're going to put up Hillary just to remind voters of how annoying she was? I want to block her. You know what? Screw it. Go small and let's go.
Actually, not even asking it, stating it. I mean, when you look at the things that he's talking about doing, jailing journalists, jailing his political opponents, turning the military on American citizens. The guy said he wanted to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. How come that is not the topic of discussion on networks like CNN every day?
But do you think that, you were raising this with Kamala Harris about her own authenticity, about her own willingness to just,
what is he doing lately? What the
say things that aren't crafted? Do you think she needs to do more of that? Trump's going to go. Apparently, Trump's going on, is going to tape a thing with Joe Rogan. Do you think she should do that?
I think that she should keep calling Donald Trump a fascist. And I think that Americans need to keep looking at the rhetoric of Donald Trump, because I don't know why we're even thinking about electing somebody who's talking about putting people in camps. I don't know why why we want to elect somebody who's talking about mass deportation. I don't know why we're having this conversation about somebody who wants to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. Aren't we supposed to be a patriotic country? Whenever somebody like Colin Kaepernick takes a knee in this country, everybody talks about, oh, that's so unpatriotic. But a guy can say he wants to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election and nobody cares?
Yeah. No, again, because they want him for the next 4 years. Like now it's just so blatantly obvious.
Like even me bringing it up now, you brought it back to Kamala and Joe Rogan. Anderson?
Yeah.
Who gives a damn?
Well, I mean, I think you give a damn who's elected president. And
yeah,
I'm
especially
asking
if that
you,
president is a fascist. That's talking about putting people in camps. That's talking about, once again, terminating the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. That's talking about, jailing his political opponents. Like that rhetoric doesn't scare people.
Well, we talk about this every single. This is what
I don't think
I'm
y'all
talking about this
enough.
every night.
I don't think y'all have enough conversations about it. I feel like I heard more on this network about is Kamala Harris black than I do about Donald Trump being a fascist.
Well,
am I wrong, Angela?
Honestly, that's bullshit. I'm sorry.
Oh, I like that.
That's
Go ahead, Anderson.
I'm not. Look, I'm a huge fan of yours.
Okay.
But to say that we're sitting around discussing is Kamala Harris black, like
I've seen that. I've seen those
that's
roundtable
definitely
discussions a lot. Now
that's
that's
true.
bullshit, Anderson. For you to say that y'all don't have those conversations.
I've never asked somebody is.
I'm not saying
Kamala
you.
Harris
I said
Not
the
you.
network.
He said the network.
I don't think anyone on. I don't think any anchor on this network has been going around saying is she black.
You want me to pull up the tapes? I would think I might pull up the tapes.
Never
It's
had a-
definitely. It's
I mean, we have
definitely
had. Look, I'm sure we have had, nutty people or people who have strongly held beliefs who I may disagree with, who somewhere on some panel have said something. But
Yeah.
I will just
But
speak up
even-
for what I do on the show. I do believe it's important to get people different viewpoints as long as they're willing to have a legitimate conversation. What I don't like are surrogates who come out and just spout talking points that they don't even believe, and those are people I try to eliminate from having ever on the air again.
I think no network has honest conversations about Donald Trump. Nobody's had honest conversations about Donald Trump since 2016. I saw last night they were talking about, the double standard that exists between Donald Trump and the vice president. But it's always a double standard with Trump, whether it's with Hillary, whether it's, against Biden, now with Kamala. You talk about him being a threat to democracy, but we don't treat him like one.
I mean, I don't.
There it is. Right. That's what I was saying at the beginning of this. I did not watch this, so
watch it.
this is just. It's kind of like it's the common thought.
But like, I don't know if any
I just had a brain fart.
Trump supporters out there or people who like him who are tuning in to me every night to try to get, to be validated in their opinions. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I disagree.
I don't
with
think
you.
it's about validating. What you mean, validating the Trump?
What you're saying, like that we're not that I guess you're saying I'm not discussing all the things he is saying and doing.
It's not it's not that you're not discussing it. It's that there's lopsided coverage of you covering it
and pointing it out and talking to, what John Kelly. I mean, this has been discussed. There's nobody. Let me just say, there is nobody on the planet who has not heard and seen pretty much everything Donald Trump has said and knows.
I don't believe that.
Knows,
I don't believe that.
No, his own supporter, like, it's so weird. One of the better things that's been going on lately is how left-wingers are going out there, like, in the trenches and going to these rallies, and they're showing people Donald Trump's words where they just haven't seen it, where they're just like, wait, we didn't see that coverage or anything. And it's because they are looking at, right-wing propaganda, on YouTube. They're watching Fox News where even if they do cover it, they bury it at the beginning of the day or in the middle of the day where nobody's going to see it. And then they just don't even cover it anymore. Like, you don't have the Sean Hannity's covering that kind of stuff. So that's why they get surprised where they're just like, he said what now? And I've even had this happen in my own life where I have had to show somebody where I'm just like, are you calling me a liar? Do you think that he did not say this? Because here's the clip. And he saw that there was just no edits. The guy, funny enough, this guy that I was talking to, he's in media. So he does his own editing. So he was just saying okay, and that's where we kind of got into the discussion of you haven't seen this for a reason. And on top of it, it's also because your algorithm keeps feeding you. Oddly enough, even in left-wing media, because there's so much coverage of right-wing media by left-wingers, we get to see, honestly, I probably watch more Fox News than a lot of right-wingers. So it's,
knows who he is, whether they believe it or not, whether they care or not.
When the vice president said that to you last night, she said, I don't think enough people know. I 100% believe enough people have not heard his rhetoric. What do you think, Angela?
I was just about to say, can y'all tag me in? I'm never doing this with y'all ever again.
Angela, yes. It's the problem of being on satellite. Yes.
I know,
please,
it is the problem. No, I was just going to say, I think what you're saying is fair, that there have been roundtable discussions where y'all raised this. I think the problem is it would be nice for, you to cut the camera and say, I'm looking right here, right now. Y'all, Kamala Harris is a black woman. Let's move right along.
Yeah,
but
yes.
but I was going to say, too, your
yeah, but he keeps playing I'm trying to be a journalist and just ask the questions that other people are asking. And they've kind of moved away from calling it the crazy. They've moved away from calling out the fact that it's, QAnon BS.
Colleagues credit Jake right after the town hall yesterday. He said that you all had the opportunity to critique what Kamala Harris' policy proposals were, what her positions were, what her recommendations were, whether or not she answered a question fair enough because, ta-da, she's the only one that showed up for the town hall. Yeah. It was supposed to be a debate. He said that. I think that the point is we don't hear those things enough. And
yeah, did you guys even cover that?
It has been a threat. We cannot say, Kamala is going on with Joe Rogan, Donald Trump is going on with Joe Rogan, but Kamala's choosing Club Shay Shay. Debate it. Like, it's like, what is he going to say when he goes on?
Here's what I've been saying, which is, it is a double standard because Kamala Harris has policies and she talks about her policies. And you may think she doesn't talk in detail enough about her policies, and plenty do. And I pushed her on that last night. I try to look at the policies from different, but she's got stated policies and you can look them up. Donald Trump does not have policies.
Oh, there you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and we say, this is nothing new. We talk about this all the time. He does not have his policy. In 2016, his policy for Iraq was taking Iraq's oil by using U.S. soldiers to surround the oil fields and extract the oil somehow and bring it to America. I mean, literally, and I was like, that's not a thing. So that's been going on now. That's what
you just did. What you just did is what I would like to hear more pundits do, because a lot of times we ask answers.
All right,
like we say things like, "Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?" Like I think we kind of.
But you know what? I'm not a pundit. I'm not interested. I don't think my opinion is particularly interesting for viewers out there. I'm interested in.
I disagree.
Well, okay, you can
no, and that's kind of the problem. Is a lot of people do go to these people for their that's what Fox News is really good at. That's why they rely on guys like Sean Hannity and Jesse Waters, is because those guys are opinion journalists. And honestly, for CNN to kind of be like, well, we're not really doing that. It's like, I've even noticed how you guys are, the straight journalism is all you'll focus on to the point where Anderson is afraid to give his true opinions on something.
I disagree with that.
You quibble with it, but I believe in asking questions and probing people's arguments and trying to reveal people's arguments, what's true and what's not. And I'm not on MSNBC for a reason. I'm not on some other network for a reason. I'm on CNN because I want to.
Yeah, because they keep renewing your contract and keep offering you more money. That's why.
Talk to Republicans. I want to talk to Democrats, and I want to learn from them. I don't think I have the answers. I'm willing to change my mind. People can convince me of stuff all the time. I'm not I don't even know why I'm talking about myself. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
No, but Anderson,
but my point is,
I want to tell you this.
I think what we're doing here is important because I do think in this country where, you know what, I got so many, I don't look at comments about myself, but I was looking up some comments about my podcast.
We all do. I hate that disingenuous BS. Joe Rogan started that where he's just like, yeah, just don't read your YouTube comments. Yeah, don't hyper fixate on them, but to sit there and be like, I never read my comments.
This whole inundation from people who are Harris supporters saying to me online today, like, how dare you, what a betrayal that you would ask her these questions.
No,
and I'm like,
job.
You misunderstand what my job is. I'm not on MSNBC, and no disrespect, what they do is...
It sounds like you mean that disrespectfully.
Very talented, but I don't watch it. I'm not interested in watching what these overpaid, blow-dried anchors think, and I include myself in that
overpaid blow. Yeah, I mean, dude, come on.
Blow-dried, although I don't blow-dry. I am overpaid, but I don't want that. I'm not interested in the anchor's opinion. I'm interested in facts and letting the viewers.
Got to get these locks dry somehow.
Viewers make up their own mind. So anyway, I'm sorry this devolved.
I like that you said that, but I will just say in this moment, some of what we're talking about tonight, Anderson, is not actually an opinion at all. It is just the facts. And you are one of the most trusted voices on television. And it is important in those moments where those conversations devolve into nonsense, particularly on the other side of the aisle. They're conspiracy theory. They won't even say her name right. That has to be checked in.
Some of that is just, I don't know, man.
The moment.
I have a hard time with it. I just do.
That is what fascism looks like. That is how we start sliding down a very slippery slope, and we cannot afford to be here. The election is 12 days away, and this should not be even what is on the ballot, but democracy's on the line. That is not a partisan issue. It is the truth. And I think that's what's important for cable news networks in particular to be saying, whether you're on Fox.
Are you guys ready? Are you ready for this?
You're on CNN, you're on MSNBC. For all of us, that is our responsibility and our patriotic duty.
And now that I know you can literally call bullshit, I want to hear it more.
Charlamagne the God, thank you. Angela Rye.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Okay, I'm really, really happy that happened. Man, that was one of the most organic pieces of debate that I've seen in a while. Leave it to Charlamagne to just call it like he sees it. Call it like he sees it. Man, I'm having a hard time today. I think that Charlamagne nailed it though, because it's kind of what I was saying at the beginning of the video, where specifically the double standard has not been called out outside of, your favorite YouTuber, whoever. I mean, I've even seen this on the right wing from like guys like Ben Shapiro, where even they'll kind of recognize it, where they're just like, well, yeah, there really isn't a bunch of favorable coverage for Kamala Harris. At the very beginning, there was, but you want to talk about all the like hyperfixation on her interviews, and then also a really good look at how the media treats her is actually the Brett Baer interview. I feel like that's how most people want to go about this, because, and this is where I get a little out there where I'm like, oh no, the media has like the conspiracy where they totally want Trump. Where it's not a conspiracy, they just want Trump. they want that. They want those ratings, man. They want to be relevant again, and they are so, because I think that the poll that came out today was 48-48, and it's just insane. It's insane. I pins and needles. And as I said, like after I voted, I started to kind of like immediately feel this, like it was the weight off my shoulders that I did it and my vote counted. Because I was a little worried that they were going to try and purge me off the voter rolls again, and I was ready to go re-register. And but I was a little scared because they also did the signature check, where it's insane. Like my signature is it's consistent as hell. And that, like, I'm not sure if it's because I was nervous, but it was like the one time where I kind of like missed a part of my signature where I was just like, oh, I didn't do the little like extra point that I usually do or something. And the guy was like, "Yeah, does this?" And even the election judge was just like, "Yeah, he's good. What are you doing, dude?" And the guy's like, ugh. But yeah, I really am glad that Charlamagne called him on that, especially with the Rogan thing. Like that's ridiculous. I do think that actually pending the Rogan interview, I'm interested to see that's going to bring beyond more just content for me to start dishing out here, because I'm gonna cover as much of that as I can. I have to be a little more careful though, because the Rogan stuff, yeah, Spotify tends to go after, so I'm gonna be very, very like I'm gonna pick and choose my clips, and that'll probably be a shorter video. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to cover the full thing, obviously. For some reason, transforming content is just not a thing with Spotify. And the WWE, man, oh man, they go after you. They do not play. So, working on a re-edit of my Vince McMahon video, because, getting clips that somebody else got permission for. Yeah. I should have seen that one coming, but I'm going into the, inside baseball of YouTube. So, not as interesting as what we were talking about before, right? I don't know. I think that with Charlamagne saying that, and also the fact that Harris is really quadrupling down on the fascist thing, because she has Mark Milley and the generals who said it, now it really did become a thing that she's able to say, and it's not it's like I was saying before, Piers Morgan can't play the game of, oh, you're just calling him a fascist because that's what the left does. Yeah, okay. Yeah, my horrible English accent, sorry. It's like the one accent that I'm not as good at. If I work on it, I think I can get it. But anyway, if you like this content, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I also have memberships, and if you really like me, leave a super chat. I really appreciate any support, because any support goes a long way in helping me out and in continuing to do this content, and also I'm gonna be able to have some members only content. I'm figuring that one out. I'm gonna put all that kind of stuff behind maybe Patreon. We'll see. But anyway, I will catch you guys in the next one.